Hello and welcome to this tutorial on how to auto Zhonya with Python. In this tutorial I'm just going to go real quick on how to use Python to activate your Zhonya's Hourglass or your Stopwatch. Just a quick note, as you may already know, doing this in a live game is sort of a no-no. So this is just for educational purposes only. You'll learn how to use League of Legends local API and how to read the JSON. So let's get started. First, you see that I have my VS Code open. I'm already in a folder that I called Auto Zhonya, and this file here, I'll explain it later. This is just a certificate. I provided that in the link below, so you could download that. You're gonna need this to connect to the URL. You'll see it later. So first thing I want to do is I'm gonna create a file. Let's just call it autozhonya.py. We create a Python file. Next up, so because we're going to be connecting to the localhost, we're going to be using the request library, and I believe we're also going to be using PyAuto GUI, which is a way for us to simulate keyboard presses. There's also the keyboard library, but it's not really maintained, so I'm going to avoid using that library. So first, I always like to create a virtual environment when I'm working on new projects, so you don't have to do this yourself, but if you do, feel free to follow what I'm doing right now. I like to use pipenv. If you don't have pipenv, then you will just go pip install pipenv, or if you have Python 3, you can do pip3 install pipenv. I already have it installed, so I won't go through this. But if you need pipenv, there it is. But I'm just going to use pipenv, and I'm going to install the request library. And what this will do is going to create a new virtual environment while simultaneously installing the request model. So I'm going to run that. Sure. Okay. So we created a new virtual environment. You can see right here, we have it up here now with a pip file. The pip file will contain the dependencies that you may need. Right now we just install requests, and we can test it out. We can import requests, and it's there. Okay, before we have to get inside our virtual environment. To do that with pipenv, you do pip. Oops, let me go down here to the terminal. You do pipenv and type in shell, and we're activated here. Let me just clear this. You can tell you're activated in your shell if you see it like a name before. It'll be in parentheses. Yours may look different, but mine is the name of my folder or project. All right, let's get moving. So now that we have that installed, we can start playing around. We need to see what's inside the JSON file. So I do have League open in the background right here. So in order to connect into your JSON file or the Riot API, we need to get into a match. So we can use the training tab over here, practice tool, and let's just add a bot. And for here, you could pick any champion you want. Let's just pick Malphite. Lock him in. This don't matter, whatever, but let's just wait till we end there. And I'm gonna provide the link to the Riot API below as well. So just copy and paste that into whichever browser you want, Chrome or Safari. I have Safari open, so once we load in, I'm gonna show you guys how to find it. Okay, we're loaded in the game. Let's go back. And I'm gonna go to Safari. We're gonna paste in that code that we have earlier. It's gonna be 127.0.0.1, and the port is actually gonna be 299. 9. So just like so, that's gonna be your right API port, and then you just type in live client data slash all game data. Let's see if that works. I believe I need to put HTTPS as well. So let's go back. There you go. So we got the JSON file. This is gonna be below in the link, so I'll make it easier for you. Just copy and paste it. Okay, now that we got that open, we see we got a couple of JSON data here. First thing we could see from in the list is an active player. This will be you, the player. You see your abilities. Right now we have Ground Slam, Granite Shield, Seismic Shard, Unstoppable Force. These are all part of Malphite's kit. You see your champion stats, ability power, armor, etc, etc. What we're going to be using for this tutorial is going to be the current health right here, because we're going to proc Zhonya's right when we're at a certain health, whichever health we want to define. So let's scroll down. You got your gold, you got your runes. We won't need any of it. We are going to need the summoner name right now, which is mine. This is Loki Laufison. It looks like that here on Safari because of a special character I use, but it doesn't matter really. The second most important key in this JSON file is all players. So when you're in a match, you're going to have a total of 10 players, 9 including yourself, and you're going to have to go through all this. Right now there's only Malphite and a bot, right? Let's see, Sivir, yeah, which is a bot. But in a real live game, you're going to have about 9 other, or 10 total, 10 items in this list. So what we're going to need is we're going to need Malphite's data only, and to find out we're going to need to match the active player's summoner's name with the all players summoner name down here. So as long as those two matches, then we're going to be using, you know, this first item up to here. I'll explain that later through the Python code and you understand better. And of course we're going to need the items, whatever's inside the item list. So right now it's empty because obviously we have not bought. So let's go back into the game. We got a warning here. Let's go buy some items. Let's add some gold. Let's add Horizon, and let's add Zhonya's. Okay, let's go back and let's refresh this. Now we see the items is filled with about three more items here. So what we're gonna need is, let's see, where's Zhonya's? Right here. Zhonya's is gonna be shown under display name. So we're gonna need to look for Zhonya's under display name, and we're going to need the slot number. The slot number is 2, so it's integer. We need to keep that in mind because if we go back to League, we see that Zhonya's is actually in number 3, right? So just like Python, this is an array. Even though you see 1, 2, 3 here, in Python this will be 0, 1, and 2. So, you know, we need to account for that later on. So to begin, let's start with getting the data back from the JSON file and looking for we got disconnected because we was AFK for a bit, which is not a big deal. So let's go back and search for our name, which is going to be the first step. So my plan is to create at least 4 functions. Let's see, we're going to create a find name function. So let me just write that down here. I'm going to find summoner name. What else do I want to do? I'm going to find name. We have to find the slot, right? So find item slot. We need to check the health. Of course, that's the most important thing. And we have to create a function to use the item. So use the item function. got 4 functions that we could use here. I don't think I need any other functions for now. I'm trying to think. We do need to check if the user is alive or dead. So let's just put check if alive. Because we don't want to use Zhonya's when we're dead. And we don't want to keep pinging the API even if we're dead. Like that we could just pause the script for a bit. I think I'm happy with that. We're gonna import JSON as well because we're gonna work with JSON. What else do we need? Let's import time module as well. And I did say we're gonna use PyAuto GUI, so let's import that. We need to install it first. So let's go down here. I'm already inside my pip environment, but I still prefer writing pip env just to be on the safe side. You just get a warning, but it doesn't really matter. So let's install that. This might take a while, so while that's loading, let's load up another game. I gotta make sure I move around this time so I don't get disconnected. Let's just add a different champ this time. Let's add Timo. Okay. So we let that load. We're gonna let this install. It's almost done. I think with pip env it's a bit slow, but it is what it is. It works. And to be clear, I'm using PyAuto GUI because I'm coding on the Mac. I don't play League on the Mac, just in case you're wondering. I don't know who plays League on the Mac, but I'm using PyAuto GUI because it actually works on a Mac. The keyboard model doesn't work too well, and anything with the keyboard related on the Mac doesn't work too well because of the security features. All right, so we're loaded. Here we go. Let's refresh this. It should show that we have Timo now, right? Yep, we got Timo down here, which is perfect. The first thing we want to do is we want to look for the summoner name. So that is a function that I want to create. These are the functions that I want to create right here. So let's just start working on the function. So I'm going to define summoner name. And that's going to take in the data that we get back from the JSON file. And we're just going to return data. Let's see where it is. We got the active player. It's the first key. So we're just going to type in active player. I think it's a capital P. Let me go back and check. Yeah. All right, and then we're gonna look for an active player. We're gonna look for not abilities, not champion stats. Summoner name right here. Copy that. I kind of want that in double quotes, but that's it. We're just gonna return that. Now we could actually just start testing this right off the bat. So let's see. Let's go with the response. Call request get, and I'm just gonna go back up here. We're gonna copy this. That looks good, right? All right. So this is where this part comes important. This little item that I had here, this file. This is a certificate I download directly from the site here. You could grab it from the link below, or you can go to your browser and just download it from your browser. Here it's showing as our client, but it's really supposed to be look like this. A .crt file. So just download the one that I provided. It's fine. It'll work. If you don't want to go through that, just press. You could go verify, right? Wait, I need to close this. Okay, you could go verify and just type in faults, right? Like this. You can do that, but you're just gonna get a lot of warnings. Let me close this so you guys could see better. All right. You could go like this, but you're just gonna get a lot of warnings, so I prefer to actually use the file name. So I'm gonna come here, let's get the file name. Okay, just follow along. There you go. Now this should work. Actually, let me make that look, I'm gonna make that look a bit better. So let's do something like this. Right. And then we just paste that there. Because I don't want to have so just long code here. Alright. Okay, I like that right there. Let's get the data back. So you guys should know how to use a request library right now, but not, it's fine. Response, it's a text, right? And we're gonna call the summoner name right now, so let's store it in the player and do find summoner name and just paste the data in there. And we're just gonna print player to see we have the data correct. Just press run code. It should work. Unless I got disconnected again from League. No, I did not get disconnected yet. Let's go back. Oh, so I did get it. I don't know why it took a while. Okay, cool. So I am getting the name back down here. As you guys can see, the name is coming through. Perfect. So we did the first function. That's out the way. Done. Let's get this print out the way. So now that we did that, what's the next function? Find the item slot. Okay. So let's just create. I don't know if I want this here. Well, I have no choice. All right, define. Let's see. Define item slot. You guys can just skip through the end of this video if you just want to see it work. And you can just go to the GitHub and just download the whole code and do it that way. But if you just want to see me code it, then thanks for sticking around. Okay, so once we have this, I'm just going to do a quick pass. I'm trying to think. We do need to iterate through all players, and we do need to iterate through the items. But we also need to match. We gotta make sure that we're getting the items back from our own player, not from, like, let's say Leona. We don't want her items. So we need to match the summoner name. So our summoner name right now is Loki Laufeyson, and if it doesn't match, then we don't want it. So like here in this case, the match will return true. So then we will just use this. So in order to do that, let's go back here. Let's pass in the data. Let's pass in player, right? And we're gonna pass in the item name because the item name, of course, is important, right? Like we need to know if the item name is it's even in there, by the way. So we do need to define the item name too. How can I do this? I need to create another variable down here. This is gonna look sloppy for now, but let's put stopwatch name. I believe it's just stopwatch. And what is the other one called? Zhonya. Keep it short. And this is like Zhonya. I think it's like this. Zhonya's Hourglass. Those are the two names. Let me make sure. Zhonya's Hourglass and stopwatch. Let's move around so we don't get disconnected. Actually, let's buy some items. So we'll buy this and we'll buy a stopwatch. I mean, Zhonya's. Let's go somewhere like over here and just hide in the bush like Timo does. Okay, let's go back. Let's refresh this to see what the items are in there. Okay, we have Shadow Flame and Zhonya's and a stealth ward. Perfect. So let's go back down here, back to our code. Yeah, Zhonya's, that looks good. We're gonna pass in the data, the player, the item. This looks good. So we're gonna iterate. So iterate, we're gonna use the for loop for player. I'm gonna say for P and data, right? And what was it called? All players. Because we're gonna iterate through all the players. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna say if P. What is it? Summoner name, right? Where is it? Summoner name. Is equal to player. Like if its summoner name is equal to our player name, in this case Loki Laufesen, we want it to, what do we want it to do? Well, we need to iterate through the items now. So like for, I could say for an item, or just for items in P, is it items or what? Yes, plural. Of course it is plural. So for item in P items, we want to see if item, let's go back. We want to know the name, right? We want to know if the name matches Zhonya's. So we want to know if the name of this display name matches what we're looking for. So if display names is equal to the item name, so let's see, that looks good. Well, we want to return the slot number, right? So I'm going to return item slot. That should give us an integer back. Keyword should, right? Because nothing's ever perfect. And if not, if not, let me see, for player and data, we could just return none, right? So if it doesn't go through this, if it doesn't find anything, well then just return nothing. That means we have no Zhonya, so we have no stopwatch. All right, we could test this out right now. Should work. Let's do it down here. So let's store the slot number and let's see. Find item slot. Let's call data. Let's call the player, and let's call Zhonya. So this should work, right? And then we could just print slot to see if it's working. Let me check my league to see if I'm even connected. Where's league? Okay, I'm still active here. Let's move around. Cool. All right, let's run this code. All right, so we got one back. Let's check if that's even true. Go back here. Yeah, so you see that technically is one. Yeah, it's, remember that just like Python, it's just an array down here, so it's gonna be 0, 1, 2, 3. So we have the right number back. Perfect. And when we do our PyAutoGo, and when we simulate the key press, we're just gonna have to do something like this, so that we could get 2 back, you know, because we want to press the key 2. not the key one. So perfect. I'm gonna delete this. I can make this look prettier, but for now, let's just deal with it. Next up, so we did this, which is perfect. Let's get done. Check health. All right, so the health is located under your active player. I saw that earlier over here. Champion stats, and it's called, where is it? It's called current health. All right, so we have 798, which is a floating point over here. Let's just confirm. Oh, we had 1209. Let me actually, I might have to refresh. I have no idea where my Safari browser just went off to. I may have closed it by accident. So let's just open that up again. Cool. All right, current health 1208.80. So yeah, it's 1209. 1209. I didn't know the league uses these not fractions, these decimals like that, and rounded it off. That is kind of weird, but okay. It makes sense. Sometimes you die and you're like, hey, I thought I had more health, but it shows up as 1209, but we have 1208.80. Cool. So that's gonna be, we're gonna need our check health function. This should be a lot more straightforward. So let's do define check health. Let's pass in the data, and we're gonna need a health threshold. So I'm gonna put health threshold. Let's define down here as well. Health threshold is equal to, let's put, this is where we want Zhonya to proc and activate. So let's put something low, but not too low because there is a delay in the code. Let's put like 225 health. I think it's pretty decent. Okay, let's go back up here. So we're gonna check health. So this is just gonna return a true or false value. So what I want to do is if data, it's active player, right? Yeah, you're gonna watch me go back and forth, and you can slow down the video if I'm going too fast. Active player, and then we're gonna go champion stats. Cool. What's next? Current health. So we're gonna go to the current health now, which is right here. Cool. And I think that's it. So this is going to contain a value. So we want to check if this value is less than or equal to the health threshold. Okay. So let's see if it's less than or equal to if data. I feel like this is off a bit. If data is less than or equal to, it's actually not one, it's supposed to be one equal sign. Less than or equal to threshold, we just want to return true, right? And if not, it's just gonna return false. That's cool. That's pretty straightforward. I don't think I need to run this to test it out. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. We have a threshold that we set down here, it's 225, and we're just gonna check against it. Okay. Let me see if I'm still connected to League. Oh, I got disconnected. AFK. We might have to connect to League like about 4 different times because we're not actually playing. We're just messing around. But it's pretty quick. Connect back in here. In the future, I might just cut off this in the video and just get straight to cool, let that run. Alright, so we have 3 functions. I'm gonna mark this as done. Alright, so now we got some tricky parts. We gotta use the item now. So this part here is gonna take some brain power. Although not too much. Let's buy Shaco should be AP sometimes, so let's just buy some shit for Shaco. Cool. Let's get him out here somewhere. Alright. Let's level him up. Alright, so we gotta refresh our API once more. I guess I'll run through the check health function just so that you guys could check it out. I think it's fine. I think it's pretty straightforward, but I'm just gonna run it. Let's just make it on the safe side. This is a Boolean value, so let's just print it out. So it should print out false. Yeah, it should print out false because we're not below our threshold. 225. Our current health right now is 1054 at 1054. So let's check if we could get a true value. So let's go back to lead. Let's just get a couple of tower shots. I am using the trackpad from MacBook, so I'm gonna be moving kind of funky. So hopefully I just don't die immediately, because it's not as fast as the actual mouse. Again, I don't play with this. Okay, we're up to 584. We need a couple of more shots. 340. We could take a few more shots, I think. 243. Can we take one more shot? Oh, I'm gonna die. 140 and I'm dead. All right, so I'm dead. So I'm dead. So it should also count as true, right? Let's just run it. All right, true. Yeah, we got true because we're at 0 health right now because we just died. So the threshold is working. We're gonna check if this is why we want to check also here. Check if alive, because we don't want to try to hit Zhonyas when we're dead, because it's gonna mark as true. So I guess that was on purpose that I died there. Totally, guys, totally. So let's delete this. It's working. Cool. I'm gonna leave some comments here. But define threshold. This I just put leave as is because you shouldn't touch that. Let's put a comment here. Get summoner's name, and this. I guess everything else is self-explanatory. I guess I'll comment those out later too. Cool. Now we're gonna check if the player is dead or alive. I kind of want to do that first. So let's come up here. Define. It's a simple check. This is also going to be returning true or false. So I guess it's cool. Player. What are we going to be going through this one? We're going to check. The only player that we want to check if it is alive is ourselves, right? So we need to run the same code that we did up here. So we need to iterate again. I think I could just copy and paste this, really. Like copy and paste these 2 lines here. I'm sure there's like easier way to do this, but fuck it. We're doing it my way right here. So for P and data all players, we're gonna go through all players. We're gonna iterate through that. We're going to iterate through the summoner names, and we're going to match if it's our name. And what do we want to do now? Summoner name is player. Where is the dead function at anyways? Let's see. Oh, it's right here. So we can do like, right now it's false, so like we could do something like an and here. I think we could get away with this. I mean, I don't know why I use a semicolon. All right, I think this looks good. So I'm just looking over this one more time. If this is that, and instead it's false. Yeah, so return true. So this will let us know if it's live, because if it's dead is false, then obviously we're alive, right? So, and I don't think we need to return a false statement like else is false, because it don't matter. So cool. You guys want me to test that function out too? I mean, I kind of don't want to run it because it's pretty straightforward, but for video purposes, let's just run this code. Because this is a true or false, I'm just gonna print it. So we should get true, right? There you go, because we're alive. Is alive true? Let's just die right now. YouTube algorithms, I'm not talking about anything else. Let's go here. Got a couple of tower shots. Cool. Let's go back to our code. Now we should get false, right? Oh, we got none, all right? Because we didn't actually return anything. None is considered false. Blah, blah, blah. Let's just return false here. True, true. Oh, yeah, of course. I think I'm alive. Let me go back. Yeah. Let's just die one more time. Oops. Oh, boy. Alright, let's go back to the code. Run that one more time. It should be false. Alright, cool. It's working then. Is alive is false because we're clearly dead. So let's get this one out the way. I am totally trying to avoid the use item one because I'm trying to think how I better use this. Let's just start this. Use item. Now, what are we going to need for the use item? We're going to need the data, of course. We're going to need the player because we need to know what's in the player's inventory. Even though we have the slot up here, we want to check if it's not empty. I mean, you'll see. Item name, and we also need the health threshold. We need all of that. And the reason we need the health threshold is because we're going to call the other functions within this function. So most of the functions that we created up here is going to be called into this function here. All right. Let's see. We're going to need the item slot. It's the first thing we're going to do because we need to check if the item exists. We did that earlier. Remember, we did find item slot, data, player, and item name. Let me just double check. Data, player, and item name. Yep. And that's going to return, remember, that's going to return the integer where either Zhonya's or Stopwatch is located. So item name, we're going to store that inside a variable called item slot. Now, I only want to run this next part if we actually have Zhonya's or Stopwatch. So we're gonna do if item slot is not none, right? Because if it's, wait, I think this is under case. I don't know what I'm doing here. If it's not none, right? If it's not empty, then we do this. And remember, we're only gonna get item slot back if we find Zhonya's or Stopwatch. So if we don't find Zhonya's or Stopwatch, it's gonna return none, because that's what we did up here. See, we return none if we didn't go through this. We return none. I hope you guys are following through. I'm not sure why I'm getting a little squiggly. Oh yeah, I didn't finish the statement up here. Okay, let's keep it moving. if item slot, what do we want to do? Now we want to check the health, right? Because we have health threshold here. So now we know that we have Zhonya, we know that we have Stopwatch. Now let's check our health. And it's perfect because we don't want to check our health if we don't have Zhonya's and we don't have Stopwatch. There's no point of checking your health, right? So we're gonna call the check health function. And that check health function took data and it took the health threshold. And if that returns a true or false, right? So if it returns true, we want to use the item. So let's go back here. If it returns true, we're going to use PyAuto GUI. And they have a cool thing called press. It's just going to simulate pressing the keyboard for you. PyAuto GUI, the way you need to put a string inside. So like if the key is 2 or the key is 3, it needs to look like this. You can't pass in an integer. So we're gonna use our string function to convert an integer into a string. So we're gonna use string. The item slot, right? Remember the item slot is the integer plus 1. Oops, daisy. Let's go back. I don't know what did I just do here. Plus 1. So we get the item slot back, and we need to add plus 1 because you know it counts it as an array. It starts it off as 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3. I showed you guys that earlier in the video, so I hope you guys are following along. So, and after you press Zhonya's, we don't want it to keep pressing 1 because, like, you know, once you die or once you're below 225 health, the code is gonna keep pressing 2, right? So we need the sleep timer. This is why we imported the timer module earlier up here. And we want to put 120 seconds because that is I think I got disconnected from League. Oh, we're still here. Cool. That is the cooldown right here. Read the active stasis. You become invulnerable and untargetable for 2.50 seconds, but are prevented from taking any other actions during this time. 120-second cooldown. So we can't press Zhonya's until 120 seconds. That's perfect information. So we're gonna use time, sleep, and we're gonna put 120. So it will just press it that one time and then sleep itself for 120 seconds, and then you're able to use Zhonya's again. Cool, I think that makes sense, and hopefully it works. We do need to test this now. Here comes the tricky part. So I do need to create a while loop. So you guys may not like this. So in order, you have to constantly check your health. So that's why we have to use a while loop. There is no other way around it. You guys could set your own sleep time function so that I don't keep constantly pinging your local API, because it may make you lag a little bit or create a higher ping. But if you got a fast computer like I do, then it shouldn't really matter. You could keep the while loop on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start creating a while loop, and I'll guide you guys on what I'm doing. All right. The first thing we want to do is create a while, and we need a statement that's true. So what I'm gonna use in this case is I only want the while loop to run if we actually find our active player, because once we're in the game, right? Once we're in the game, like we're gonna be able to find a player. If you're not in the game, this page here is not even gonna load. This is gonna be an error. So this works fine. You could also put while true if you want. You could also do like while true, but this does the same shit and it looks kind of cooler. So let's just use while player and keep it at that. I do need to pass the response again. I think I could have made this a little bit better and non-redundant, but again, I really don't care. I'm just gonna do it this way because it works for me. So we're gonna pass the response again. What else? We're also going to need to pass the data again because it's a little bit separate. So let's do that again. Because this week The reason that we're adding this inside a while loop now is because we gotta keep pinging for the health. All right, guys. We gotta keep checking for health, and we gotta keep checking to see if. We gotta keep checking to see if. I'm drawing a blank here. If we have the items, right? Cool. I'm just freestyling. I'm going along. That's why I'm having these little brain farts. So let's see. We have the data. We do need to check if the player is live, right? We did create that function earlier, so we're gonna have is live. That I think that took in the data and the player. Let me just double check. Yep. So cool. And now that's pretty much it. Now we're just gonna use the item, right? We're just gonna use item. And the item took data player. Let me just double check because I have bad memory. Data player. Let me just copy this. Gotta stop being so stubborn. Cool. Let's do that. Item name. Okay, so why am I getting item name? It's not really item name, is it? Player item name. Use item. Why did I do item name? I think it's like stopwatch.
Your turret has been destroyed.
So in here I will actually have to do stopwatch name. I could also do use item because we are looking for we're not only looking for a stopwatch, we're also looking for Zhonyas, right? I said that backwards. We're not just looking for Zhonyas, we're also looking for stopwatch. So, oops, there you go. So if the player is alive, right? If the player is alive and it's true, we just want to use the item. And if we go back, the use item is already checking for health, right? See, so it's doing everything for us. This should work. And I don't think I need to add anything else. Maybe a delay, maybe, I don't know. Maybe a time delay, right guys? So let's just do like add a delay. Just a small delay. We don't need a big delay because like if you're in the middle of a skirmish, again, you don't actually need to add this delay. You could just comment this out. But let's just add a small delay. Maybe I'll make it smaller. Maybe like 3. Okay, I think this should run. Let me just look at this whole code one more time. Let me mark this as done. So we got the data. We confirmed like the first 4 functions we're working except the use item. So we need to actually like try to run this and see if it works. Let me see if I'm connected. I got disconnected. Of course I did. I might skip forward for this part. Okay, I had to load the game back because I got disconnected for being AFK again. Maybe that's another thing you guys could do. Just create a script that's gonna move you around here and there just so you can stay active. Let's let this load. Now we're gonna actually test the script and it should work. I mean, keyword it should because there's always something that fucks up in the code, but it should work. This is a pretty straightforward type of code. So let's see. We're gonna scroll down. Let's buy some items here. We got Zhonyas. Okay. Now we're gonna purposely die. Oh, before I do that, I actually gotta run the script. So let's go back. Oops. Let's go back here. And let's press run code. We got no errors, so that's a good thing. Let's go back to League. Let's get some tower shots. So if we hit below 225 or below, the stopwatch should activate. So I'm just gonna move around. Oh my god, I can't move around with a trackpad. It's just so bad. Okay. So do anybody actually use a Mac to play League? I got good FPS, but it feels weird. Okay, one more hit. Oh, there you go. Perfect. I felt like it was a little delayed. It wasn't it wasn't too quick, so it did run. Now we have 120 seconds to test it again. Maybe I'll fast forward the video, or I could just, I'm gonna hit this cooldown. I'm gonna restart the code just to test it one more time. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a print over here somewhere, right here, just to see that it's actually. Let's just put, what am I doing? Let's put print. Let's put print. Do we have the item name? Yeah, let's put print. We'll put item name activated. At least I could get a visual here too. Like, so let's press run code. Go back to league. I'm at 289, 290 health right now. I think I'll die if I hit the tower. Let me see how much tower damage. 188. Okay, we could take one tower hit. Okay, there. Perfect. One more time. It's working, guys. So let's go back down here. Let me just go back to... Turn off this cooldown. Go back to Python. It did say Zhonya's Hourglass activated. There you go. Very simple, straightforward. Auto Zhonyas in Python. You could modify this any way you wish. There's like a couple of things you could do. You could adjust your health threshold if you want a little bit higher or lower. You could change it to find other activatable items, or maybe like a barrier. There you go. It's pretty straightforward. One thing, like I said, I wouldn't suggest using this in an actual live game because there's a lot of, first of all, it might be against Riot's TOS. I'm not sure if it is or isn't. We're not reading memory. We're just reading the API, really. So I'm not sure if that's against their terms of service. So if it is, I wouldn't suggest using it in a live game. If you're a rule breaker, hey, go right ahead. Do as you wish. You might get banned, but hey, do as you wish. And second, I wouldn't use it because, like, if you're fighting, let's say you're fighting somebody and you're like one auto attack away from killing them, but they get you below 225 and you're one auto attack away from killing them, you're just gonna go, you're just gonna freeze, you're gonna go in stasis mode, and you're gonna get away, okay? And you're just gonna get pinged. You're gonna get a shit ton of ping by your what's the pay? They're just gonna go like this to you. You know, they're gonna say, "What the fuck, bro? Why didn't you kill the guy?" You know how toxic League is. So there you go. I wouldn't suggest using it in a live game, but have fun if you do. If you do use this, have fun. You could get the code from the GitHub, and if you like the video, comment and subscribe. Please subscribe. I'll upload more League videos if you do. I got other cool ideas that I could upload for you guys. So that's it for now. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.